Hey, what's up guys? It's Jordan from Teasers Books, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in March and April. I haven't filmed a wrap-up in a while because in March I only managed to read 2 books, so I thought I would just combine it with April and do one big wrap-up. So let's get into what I read in March and April. I read some good books and some not so good books, so I'm hoping this will be an interesting discussion. So the first book I read in the month of March was The Deal by Ellie Kennedy. It is a new adult romance novel that focuses on this girl who ends up trying to tutor this one hockey player in a subject that he is failing in school. And I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It was super addicting, super easy to fly through, and it was exactly what I needed at the time. The dialogue was really funny. It didn't seem corny or out of place at all, and I really liked the characters. This also has really good consensual rep, and I really enjoyed the relationship and how it progressed through the entirety of the book. I'm really hoping I can read the rest of this series soon. I know it's one of those series that takes place with different couples for every book, so I'm not 100% sure if I'll want to let these two go because I adored them so much, but it's definitely on my radar to continue. So if you're at all interested in new adult romance and have not read this series yet, I would definitely recommend picking up The Deal. The next book that I read was Come Tumbling Down by Shauna Maguire, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This book was the 5th, I believe, book in the Wayward Children series by Shauna Maguire, which is an absolute amazing series. If you want to hear what it's about and me ranting about how amazing it is, check out my February wrap-up because I read the first 4 books that month and then continued on with the 5th book. This book wasn't my favorite out of all of them. It was more of a quest style novel instead of learning about a new world, and I much prefer when she writes about a new world than the group going on a quest. But it was still really well written and I really enjoyed it. The Wayward Children series is basically about these kids who go through doors when they're little and then come back into the real world and don't really know how to fit into society, so they get sent away to this boarding school where they are with friends who have all gone through different doorways, and it's just such an amazing idea. The writing is incredible and they're only 200 pages, so they're super easy to fly through really quickly, and I just really recommend them. The next book that I read is Formula for a Perfect Life by Christy Hayes. A Formula for a Perfect Life is about this girl who finds out she's pregnant from a one-night stand and has to go and find the boy and tell him that he's going to be a father. It gets very dramatic with them trying to decide what they want to do, if they even want to have this kid, if they have this kid, what this means in terms of starting a relationship, and both of their parents get involved and things get very messy. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I thought that it was entertaining, but it wasn't an all-time favorite for me. I also found that the book was very repetitive in the way that the characters solved their problems. Something bad would happen, they would go and talk to their 22-year-old friend who would give them really good advice that a 22-year-old would probably not give their friend, and then that advice would then cause them to go back to the other person and open up to them and become super mature. Then that would just keep happening every time they hit a roadblock. It just kept going in the same direction over and over again, and I feel like the author could have taken more creative routes to reach the end goal that she wanted. However, I do think that people who are looking for new adult books that don't have a lot of sexual content in it would really like this book. A lot of people think that new adult is strictly about sex, and it's not. It is about characters in college, just out of college, kind of finding themselves. And I think that this book is a decent representation of a good new adult book without the sexual content. Next book that I read was Sadie by Courtney Summers. This book I listened to on audiobook and it was so good. I really enjoyed the audiobook. The audiobook had mixed media and it was a full cast, so you got really immersed in the story, and the podcast that takes place throughout this entire book was so entertaining and so fun to listen to, and I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend listening to the audiobook if you want to read this book because you just get so much more out of the experience compared to just reading it. This book is about a girl named Sadie who is on the hunt to find the person that she believes killed her sister. It is a wild ride. It is kind of like a mystery thriller in a way, but young adult. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was kind of slow at the beginning and didn't grab my attention as fast as I wanted it to, but the ending just flew by and I just could not put the book down. I definitely think you need to give this book a chance, but when you do, you'll really enjoy it. The next book that I read was More Than Meets the Ink by Ellie Acart. This is a romance novel where the main character meets this guy and thinks that he's a typical bad boy and then finds out that he is more than that. Honestly, I didn't like this book. I gave it 1 star. It was not what I expected it to be. I thought that it was going to be more of a romance where the characters had to learn about each other and grow and develop as characters, where instead it was just them having sex the whole time. And honestly, I'm not here for that. Yes, it's good to put that stuff in books, but I actually want a plot, and there was absolutely no plot in this story. Normally I like romance novels, but this just didn't have anything going on, and honestly it felt like I was just reading fan fiction, and I did not appreciate. I wouldn't recommend this book to really anyone unless that's exactly what you're looking for. It wasn't even that well written. The dialogue was super awkward and corny. I was rolling my eyes while reading it. Unfortunately, that was a letdown for me. Taking a more positive note, the next book that I read was Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, and I of course gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This is the 4th or 5th series that Cassandra Clare has written in the Shadowhunter universe. It takes place after the Infernal Devices, which takes place in the 1800s in London. You kind of have to read the Infernal Devices before you read this book, but you don't absolutely have to. Honestly, I think I like these characters more than Dark Artifice's trilogy characters because they just felt so much more well developed, and they actually spoke their minds, which is something Cassandra Clare characters never do. They would go up to people and go, "This is what I'm feeling right now, and let's talk about it." And I was like, wow, they're sharing with each other. They're talking with each other. It was unbelievable. I could not believe it because her characters almost never say what they're feeling. Plot was super intriguing. I was guessing the whole time. I predicted all of this stuff to happen and I was completely wrong. I cannot wait for the rest of the books in this series. I also think Cassandra Clare has just really grown as a writer, and you can really tell that in this book, especially during the fight scenes. While they are fighting, you know exactly what's going on, and it was so easy to picture the scene happening in my head, where previously I found it really disconnected and found it hard to follow, so I think she's really improved in that aspect of her storytelling. It was just a wild ride and I had so much fun reading it, so if you're at all interested in the Shadowhunter universe and haven't started yet, please do, because this book is great and all of her other books are also fantastic. The next book that I read is Spy Times Family Volume 1 by Tetsuya Endo. I really hope I pronounced that right, and I'm sorry if I didn't. This is a manga that I received from NetGalley, so thank you very much to NetGalley for sending me a copy of this. This manga was about this spy who's always worked alone, and then in order to complete a mission, has to go and adopt a kid. It is super cute. I wasn't expecting to like it so much as I did, and it was super easy to read. I just flew right through it, read the entire volume, and wanted more. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who is at all interested in manga. I'm not super into manga myself, but I really want to start reading more graphic novels, mangas, comics, that kind of stuff. So this was a really good lead-in to that. I really liked the art style, I really liked the dialogue, I found it very easy to follow, and I did really enjoy the plot. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. The next book I read was Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hang Wen. This book I received from a giveaway from Indigo Teens, so thank you very much. It was super exciting to win this. This book is about a girl named Ever whose parents ship her off to this really intense boarding school for the summer before she goes away to medical school. But all of her life, she has wanted to go to dance school and become a professional dancer. So when she gets to this prestigious boarding school and finds out it's actually a love boat, which means basically kids just goof off and party for the whole summer, she has to make the decision if she wants to listen to her parents or kind of goof around for the summer and pursue her passion for dancing. This book was crazy. It was such a wild ride. I could not believe how many things were discussed and what happened in this book. I was honestly gaping at how dramatic it was. At some points I found it a little disbelieving just because of how outrageous all of the things that were happening to her and her friends, but it was also really enjoyable at the same time, and it was funny and it was endearing. The only thing that I think could have improved a little bit was I felt like I was receiving a lot of mixed messages from the author. Well, maybe not mixed messages, but just a lot of messages in general. At one point they would be talking about the importance of healthy relationships, and at one point they'd be talking about following your dreams, and at one point they'd be talking about not doing drugs or drinking and all of this stuff, which are all great messages to put forth in a novel, especially a teen novel. However, I feel like because there were so many being kind of shoved in your face, it was hard to kind of pull away what you believed was most important from the story. Maybe that was the author's intention, that maybe some things would resonate more with some readers than others, which is also fine. I personally just found it a little bit overwhelming, and I feel like someone who's even younger than me would find it even more overwhelming. So that was the only thing that brought this down from a 5-star to a 4-star, but I highly recommend this. It was a pleasant surprise because I really didn't know what to expect from this, and I am hoping to read more from this author in the future. And the last book that I read in the month of April was My Favorite Half-Night Stand by Christina Lauren. This is a new adult romance novel about this girl and her group of guy friends who need dates to their convocation since they are all university professors, and so they all decide to set up dating profiles. But things end up going wrong when the girl ends up matching to one of her guy best friends. Man, this book was so good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I think I like it more than Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, which is actually really surprising because I loved that book. This book was super funny. I loved the dialogue between the characters. I actually laughed out loud, which does not happen often when I'm reading, so that's how you know that it was a funny book. I also found the concept behind the story really intriguing. It was really believable. Like, it would be really weird for this to happen. I do see it being possible, and that's why I really enjoyed this. I also really liked that we read from both points of view. I love dual perspective romances because I love to see what the other person is thinking and seeing how they react to things happening in certain situations, so I really enjoyed that aspect of the novel. Honestly, this book was super cute. I flew through it and I highly recommend it. It's also really easy to read because, of course, now I can't find any when I'm actually looking, but like a lot of the book is told through group chats of all of them messaging each other, so it goes by super fast. That's also what made it really funny, is it was really easy to read and it was just like reading a group chat between you and all of your friends. It was just really good, and I do recommend it if you have read any Christina Lauren in the past, or if you're looking to delve into new adult. This is a really good place to start. Alright, so that is all that I read in the months of March and April. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys have read and enjoyed over the past few months. I would love to know, and I would love to discuss any of these books if you've read them in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on my Twitter, my Instagram, and I recently started a blog, so I will put that down below. Thanks so much for watching, and keep on reading, guys. Bye!